All right, welcome to another episode of Closers or Losers. My name is Jeremy Miner. I'm the founder of 7th Level, the host. I used to be the chairman, but I got demoted. I'm not even the chairman of the company anymore. What the hell is going on, Marco? So our CEO, Matt, is actually sleeping right now as we're recording this. So we have our Chief Revenue Officer and business partner, Marco Cortesi, in here. Marco is over all of our marketing and over all of our sales as well. And today we wanted to go over something that's pretty special for people watching here. You're going to have an opportunity, a very unique opportunity to participate in something. One of the biggest questions that our DM team, our social media comes to me with is everybody's always asking like, hey Jeremy, where can I learn how to make a script? Like where can I learn how to tie in NEPQ, if you're new, neuro-emotional persuasion questions to my industry? How do I make that industry specific? How do I get a script? So you came up with a brilliant idea of a 5-day challenge. Yes. You want to tell them where that came from?
Yeah, so the most important things is this. So there's like reviewing the data last year, what we've done, and kind of like we listened to some of the sales call that our team had. Is like the biggest struggle that we see is like people not understanding the structure, but not anything to go to. Yeah. They just start sales, they wing it from the hip and kind of make any money, they can't make any money. Yeah. So I think what we've done is reviewing the data. It's like, how can we give back and to someone, for example, this is a free challenge, right?
Yeah. We don't even charge you.
We don't charge
Wait a minute. Should we be charging them? Okay, we're not charging them. Okay, yeah.
So how can we give back to people, especially on the start of the year, right?
Yeah.
Because like we want them to have a killer year.
Yeah.
So well, all right, let's kind of like give them at least a base foundation of what scripting is. Yeah. And like you teach us like the scripting, that was the main part that we missed, and we know that is the most impactful part.
Let me give you some background. So Marco Cortesi 3 years ago became a client, and he was doing well. You were already making like 6 figures at your job. But you're like, man, I want to make $500,000 a year. I want to make $800,000 a year. I want to make $1 million a year in commissions. So he came into NEPQ already, successful, making lower 6 figures. Taught him skills, and then the next year he made almost 1.1 million in commissions, like a year later. So this man has some credibility with what he's talking to you about. And then about probably 16 months ago, you became the Chief Revenue Officer of the entire global company. Yeah, about 18 months ago. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of what we're going to cover during the 5 days, and write these dates down. So it's going to start Tuesday, January 17th. So this is coming up Tuesday, January 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern. My suggestion would be is mark off at least 90 minutes of your calendar, if not 2 hours, because typically we train for 90 minutes and then we open up for Q&A for about 20 to 30 minutes. So if you've got a pressing question you want to ask me and our host, Matt Wright, our CEO, I would mark off 2 hours, but minimum 90 minutes for sure if you want to learn how to sell more. So we're going to start Tuesday, January 17th. That's 6 p.m. Eastern at night, USA time. So check your local listing. That's 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're on the West Coast. Now, if you're over in Europe, check the time zones. If you're in Australia, that's the next morning. So check your time zone. And that's going to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're actually doing a 5-day challenge. We don't even charge you for this. Now, let's cover what we're going to go over in each day and why we're covering each day. So this challenge is actually called the $33 million scripting challenge. Now, what does that even mean? What does that mean for you? So in case you don't know who I am, when I had my career, I was in sales like you, in the trenches, selling every day for 17 years. And I retired about 5 years ago. Okay, so I had a 17-year sales career. In that 17-year period, I sold in 4 industries: 2 B2C, business to consumer, and 2 B2B, business to business. I understand both like the back of my hand. During that 17-year period, I made a bit under 33 million in straight commissions. We called it 33 million because we rounded it up because it wouldn't make sense to call it like the 32,876,027 challenge. So it's called the 33 million challenge for that reason, okay? So I'm gonna break down the scripting process of how to make a script for any industry. Now, just so you're aware, 7th Level in the last 4 years, we train 158 different industries, including yours, watching me right now. So we have scripts for all industries at this point in subsets, okay? We have hundreds back there. It's crazy. So we're going to, day number 1, we're going to show you the 3 steps that you will need to understand to actually get your prospects to want to open up and engage. And I'm going to give you examples of that script even the very first day. So we might talk about the psychology of how selling has changed for 15 minutes, but it's mainly going to be tactical training. Here's the question to use. Here's why you're using it. We're going to role play. Here's the tone you're asking this certain question in. So day number 1, we're going to introduce you to that $33 million script. We're going to show you many different industry specific examples, probably including yours watching. And we're going to show you, very importantly, how to disarm your prospect to trigger them to let their guard down, where they become open to going below the surface and tell you what really is going on. Imagine if you learned that one superpower of how to trigger every prospect you talk to let their guard down. That one superpower, imagine what that would do for your sales. So that's day number 1. Now day number 2 is all about objection handling. So we're going to show you different questions in the sales structure, in that script for any industry, that's going to cause your prospects to actually tell you what their real concern is. So how many times does a prospect tell you, I want to think it over, or I want to do more research, or I want to keep looking around, or I need to talk with my spouse, or I need to keep talking with the board, I need to talk with my business partners, and how many of those deals do you lose? So we're going to show you why that happens so you understand it. We're going to show you different techniques to prevent it, such as pre-framing. What does pre-framing mean? How do you pre-frame a prospect where they don't even have that objection? I mean, imagine that. So we're going to show you how to overcome, we don't have the money for this. We don't have the budget for this. This is too expensive. I need to think it over. Can you send me more information? I'll get back to you if I'm interested. How about, can you send me a proposal? Can you send me a quote before you've even had a discovery call? What do you do then? What do you do if they say, well, I think I'm just going to try to do this on my own, see if it works out? Or, we looked your company up online and we saw some negative, negative comments or something. How do you help them overcome that? How many deals do you lose from that? I need to think it over. I don't make rash decisions. I need to talk with my spouse. So we're going to cover all of that for you day number 2. Now, once you learn those type of techniques, what happened with your sales?
The most important thing is this one. Is like, you mentioned yesterday, because we went out yesterday, you mentioned gap building.
Yeah, gap building.
Gap building is the key. So in the moment that your script is not capable, kind of build a gap for your prospect.
Yeah.
That you're never going to get pulled nothing emotionally, but also you're going to get a ton of objections.
You're going to get a ton of objections. If you can't build a gap from where they are compared to where they want to be, that means the smaller that gap, because your questionability is just off or your tone's off, that means the smaller the gap, that means way more objections, that means less likely for them to buy, because there's no urgency there, okay? Now day number 3, that's when we're really gonna pull back the curtains and really analyze the script. And we're actually gonna go over why, and how can I say this to you without you getting upset with me? So we're going to pull back and we're going to go over why your script that the company has forced you to use sucks and how to change that. We're going to show you certain words you've been trained to use by the gurus, okay, the old sales gurus in your company, that are actually triggering the very sales resistance that you don't want. Triggering the prospect to emotionally shut down, their walls of resistance come up. Even if you ask a good question, they give you a 3 to 4 word answer, and then at the end they say, I want to think it over, I need to do more research. So we're going to show you why your script is doing that, and we're going to show you certain words to replace those words with that are more neutral languaging, okay? We're going to show you certain questions to use instead that's going to trigger the prospect to open up. That day number 3 is huge. I mean, each day is huge. Like if you just show up to day 3, but you don't understand day 1 and day 2, you're not going to have the advantage that everybody else is that shows up day number 1.
Make sure you shop every single day. Make sure you come with a notepad. We need, if you register, we're gonna send you a workbook. So
yeah.
take
Where do they register at? Where do they register at? They're probably like, where do we register?
I'll send a link in the description. So click on more, you will see the description, and you'll find a link.
There's two things you'll have to do is you'll have to register, and we'll put a link here. You have to register for the challenge, okay? Otherwise you just won't get the Zoom link to get on. And you have to join the free Facebook group, because we make announcements in the free Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro. We make announcements on any changes. So if you're not in there, you just won't know. You'll be left out in the cold. Now, day number 4 is a really important day and something we've never done. Yeah. You want to explain what we're doing on day number 4?
So the most important thing is this one. It's like, okay, so we've done the foundation, we got the script. After it's like, how it's going to look like.
Yeah.
So Matt is going to do some role plays with you guys, just making sure that you see the process on end, right?
Yeah.
Because like, what we found also as well, without throwing any shots, is like a lot of gurus, they show you the theory. Yeah. After it's like in practice.
They don't know. Well, they don't know themselves.
Right. So we give you the possibility to kind of like ask questions, but also to see how to role play the script and like why building that gap and emotional selling is a question.
Well, I believe we're going to have Matt Ryder, our CEO, which used to be a client, 4 years ago when I first started, and he crushed it. He made like 1.5 million a year in commissions eventually before he became the CEO here. He's going to actually do a real live sales call. So he's going to pick somebody from the audience. And he's going to actually, I think we're role playing with that or something, like whatever industry, just random industry that's on the call. Now, folks, I want to make sure you understand. We'll probably, how many thousands will we have registered for this? Probably 10,000 plus.
Yeah, 10,000 plus.
Yeah.
And of course, keep in mind also this, that there is a window where is the 3 days before or 2 days before the challenge. That we have limited seats just because of course the Zoom capacity of it. Yeah. So making sure that you get in there before the challenge actually starts.
Yeah, right when you hear this, you definitely want to register for sure. So, okay, so Matt's going to do a real live sales call from like any random industry that we just pick on there from you guys. It could be your industry. You could be like, hey, can you do an example for this? And we will do that. Okay, depends on that. So that's day number 4, and then day number 5 is a very special day as well, because that's where we're going to help you tie in your specific industry and actually start finishing your sales structure. That's why you showed up. So by day number 5, you're going to walk away with like a sales structure to actually use.
Yep, exactly right.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? All right. So Marco, what else? What else is on your mind, man? You're here in the Scottsdale, Arizona office. You flew over here from the Sydney, Australia office. What's going on? What's going on in your world?
The most important thing is actually want to ask you a question.
Yeah,
because
what's
you've
up?
been in sales for really long.
Supposedly. Yeah.
You seem like working in the office, remote work, and after going back to the office, that's technically where things are going.
Yeah.
How do you feel like salespeople should interact together into an office?
Well, I think if you're I like the office setting for salespeople, and here's why. Because even though everybody wants their freedom to work from home, do whatever they can, and there are some advantages to have that, when you're in the office and you can collaborate at really any time during the day, it gives you a competitive advantage over reps who you're setting at home, and if you want to collaborate, you got to call another salesperson. Hopefully they answer, then you play phone tag, or like, hey, can we schedule a Zoom? And they're like, well, I'm busy for 4 days. And so there might be this certain objection that you keep getting, and you're like, man, I really need some help with that. But because you're at home, you're just kind of on your own, and you're kind of like left to fend yourself until you have that next meeting or call. Whereas in your office, you can just look around to the next cubicle, or you can go into another salesperson's office and just ask and have an answer 2 minutes later. So I find that salespeople that work from the office have that competitive advantage. Okay, that is a huge competitive advantage being in the office in my mind. Like me as a salesperson, like if I was back in the trenches right now, I'd only want to work from the office so I can collaborate with people. Like I even did that, like when I was in sales, let's say I was making $2.5 million a year in commissions, and the next guy below me, the top dog in the company, you're talking companies that had, 2, 3, 5,000 reps plus, so large companies, he might have made 400 or 500 grand, but I would still ask his advice. I'd be like, hey, when your prospect says this, what do you typically say? And I'd listen, I'm like, oh, that's really good, because maybe they did that better than I did. Or maybe they had an idea and I'm like, I'm in my mind, I'm like, that doesn't really work that well. But if he just asked it here instead of here, or changed these words and asked it this way, more neutral, that would work better. And I would take that, and then it would cause me to go out and sell more.
So pretty much is two things based on what you're saying. So one is the development part of it, like you're close to people that make more than you and stuff like that, so you can ask them questions.
Yeah.
And the second one seems to be the motivation part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like how motivated are they to actually do the extra work.
I think it is, and I think even if you're like the top dog, let's say if you work from home right now, you're the top dog, you make $400,000 a year. I'm just throwing out a random number. And you're like, well, I don't need to work in the office because everybody else makes way less than I am. Well, okay, but the problem is it's hard for you to ever get to a higher level. Even, like I said, even when I was like the number one salesperson, like in my industry, plus you're talking top 50 salespeople in any industry worldwide, but the DSA Association rankings, I still learn from people that made far less than me. And like I said, I might say, hey, what do you do when they do this? And the answer they gave me might not be that good, but I'm like, oh, it gave me an idea of how to make what they did way better. And so I would take that, and that's how I kept making more and more and more. Like I went from, 350, to I went from like 150,000 a year to then 300,000, then to, 650, then to 750. Like I kept finding out more information even from people that made way less money. 1.3 million. I'm still asking people who made 150 grand how they responded to the I want to think it over objection. And sometimes they'd have a better idea. And I'm like, oh, if we just change it, that would make it even better. But at least it gave me ideas to expand on to actually be able to sell more. So I think the office is important for that.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Right? Because this morning I met with the guys and I was like kind of slapping them around because like when they start making 20 to 30K a month, they either sleep, they go into like the
get lazy
mode, or they like, Yash is fantastic. You're like, okay, I got the skills now, get me in front of more people. How do you, because if I look at your career, like $33 million in commission on top of being a huge amount.
Well, that was over 17 years, so
but it's also like a ton of people, right?
Yeah.
That you sold. How do you keep yourself motivated during the entire thing?
My motivation was to be the best. So like I never, in my mind, I took from like my sports career in high school. I played football in high school and baseball, and played baseball in college. In my mind, I was very competitive. So I would always, in like baseball and football, it was like I had to outwork others because maybe I wasn't as gifted athletically, but I would outwork them like, agility drills, like showing up to more practices, staying after to hit more balls. Like I would do that. So I took that way of thinking into my sales career. And I just translated over like, okay, if I want to be the best, physically, I'm not going to go to the gym and lift more weights and that's going to make me a better salesperson, like a meathead or something. But I knew that if I gained more knowledge, if I outlearned everybody else, if instead of driving down the road, as my good friend Brian Tracy would say, use your car as a university on wheels, instead of driving down the road, listen to CNN or Fox News or my favorite rap songs or Britney Spears songs, which how much money does that make you? Zero. I started learning from an early age at 21, 22. I was listening to things called CDs. I don't know if you guys have heard of the things like a long time ago. They were called CDs. Now I have audiobooks. So I would listen to those CDs while I was driving all over, and I would read 5 books a month times 12 months a year. So that's 60 books a month on sales, persuasion, and influence. I still do that to this day. Now, a lot of people ask me like, how do you have time to read 5 books and do everything you do? Well, I typically only read 3 books, and then I listen to 2 books on audio. Now, there's some months where I've listened to 3 books on audio, because maybe I had a road trip, and then I'd read 2 books. But it's always 5 books a month times 12 months a year. That's 60 books a year times 22 years. That's 1,320 books. And this month, I've already read 1 and listened to 1, so I'm at 1,322, not that I'm counting. So sales, persuasion, influence. So I outlearned everyone else, and that translated to me out-earning everyone else.
Okay, let's speak of that. So it seems like the key is you learn as you go, right?
I'm still learning now. I mean, you know me. I'm still like, hey, I have to have 45 minutes a day to keep learning.
I entered into, Jeremy has a new car, with a G-Wagon. I entered in his car. We couldn't turn off the Audible, and he was listening to
I was listening to an Audible book. You're like, what do you listen to? I'm like, well, what do you mean what I'm listening to?
Straight up fact that he does it. I guess like, okay, so you're going to learning mode, right? So you move and you listen.
Yeah.
How do you you're like you master it? This one you master. Like sales is. How do you pick what do you want to learn? Like walk us through the mental process that you use. Like I want to learn this month.
It might be more on tonality. So I might buy a couple sales books on tonality and body language, but then what I do is I don't just listen and read sales trainer stuff, because a lot of times they don't understand how to work with human behavior. So you'll find a lot of books on my shelf when you go in there from like professors at NYU, like psychology professors. Yep. And I'll be reading around, behavioral patterns and why human beings make decisions. That's what I went to school for. And so I'll read that as well. And then I might read like a sales trainer's book that's been around the block for a while. And I'm like, that's really good. But if you just change the wording here, I NEPQ it. I'm always NEPQing everything. I'm like, that's a really good question, but we need to NEPQ it. We'll take out this word, and this word, and put in this word, this word, and it makes it far more deeper. It causes them to go below the surface. So that's what I mean by NEPQing it. So it just depends on what I want to learn. There might be some times, I want to, read a little bit more about sales management, because maybe we have a sales management thing that we're doing or something. So I'm going to brush up on my sales management skills because I've been out of the game for a few years. So it just depends on really what's going on.
So you pick the topic and after you go and buy the books. That's interesting.
Easy stuff.
All right, perfect.
Okay. Well, guys, I think that's good for today. Make sure you go ahead. We're going to put a link here to register for the $33 million scripting challenge. Write the dates down. That's going to start coming up here just a few days away. Tuesday, January 17th to Saturday, January 21st. So Tuesday, January 17th, Wednesday, January 18th, Thursday the 19th, Friday the 20th, and Saturday the 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the U.S. If you're in Europe or any part of the world or Australia, check your local listings for that. I would suggest you block off at least 90 minutes. Okay, probably for you, block off 2 hours. We'll really probably never go over 2 hours, because we will go about 95 minutes worth of core training and then about 25-30 minutes of Q&A. So I would just be safe, block off 2 hours, be somewhere. Don't be driving down in your car trying to get it on your phone. You're just not going to pick it up compared to the people that are at home or at their office on a desktop or a laptop, and they are honed in. And right when you register, you're going to get, I think they get emailed a workbook, right?
Yes.
So make sure you have that workbook handy, because we're going to help you fill all this stuff out as we go. So you're going to walk away on that 5th day with a completed sales structure that you can use starting that next Monday. All right? Thanks, everybody. And make sure you also join the free Facebook group after you register, because we will have updates in the free Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. Got about 45,000 members in that thing as well. All right, everybody, be safe. We'll see you soon.
See you guys. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're going to help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.